The night air was thick with silence, the kind that made every creak in the house sound deafening. The soft glow of your bedside lamp barely illuminated the corners of your bedroom, casting long, eerie shadows along the wall. You had always been somewhat of a night owl, but tonight there was a heaviness in the air that made you uneasy. Maybe it was just the horror stories you'd been reading, the ones that blurred the lines between fiction and reality. You shook the thought away and sighed. Rolling onto your side, sleep was stubborn, refusing to come no matter what, and no matter how much you tried to clear your mind. Then, the sound of a scratch was so faint, like nails dragging against wood. Your body froze, ears straining to catch any other noise. It could have been anything. The wind against the windows, a branch scraping against the glass, but something inside of you knew better. Slowly, you sat up, pulling the blanket around your shoulders. The room suddenly felt too big, the windows stretching too far. You glanced at your bedroom door. It was closed, as it always had been when you were going to bed. Nothing seemed out of place, yet the feeling of being watched crawled up your spine. Another time, the sound was closer. This time, it felt so close. Your breath hitched. Something was inside the house. Panic rushed through your veins. You grabbed yourself, forcing yourself to stay quiet. Grabbing your phone by the nightstand, you hesitated. Should you call a friend? The police? Someone? Before you could decide, the sound of your closet door creaking open made your blood run cold. Your pulse pounded as you turned to the noise, heart slamming against your ribs. The darkness inside your closet seemed endless. Swallowing the dim light of your lamp for a moment, nothing happened. Maybe you were imagining things. Maybe you were just being silly. And then a figure emerged. A tall, lean, unnaturally pale figure. His hair was black and messy, and it framed a face that was both haunting and slightly mesmerizing. And those empty, soulless voids locked onto you with an intensity that rooted you in place. A twisted smile stretched across his face, carved deep into his cheeks, as if he'd been forcing himself to grin forever. Your breath was caught in your throat. You know who it was. Jeff the killer. The stories, the rumors, they weren't just myths. He was real, and he was standing right in front of you. "You're awake," he murmured, his voice low and amused. "That makes this so much more fun." Adrenaline surged through your limbs as you scrambled backwards, nearly falling off your bed. "Stay away from me," you whimpered, though your voice shook. He tilted his head, his grin never faltering. "If I wanted you dead, you would be already." But his words sent a shiver through you, something that you couldn't really understand. His tone made you hesitate. He wasn't attacking. Not yet, anyway. But he was studying you, watching you like some kind of prey playing with a prey. "What do you want?" you asked, forcing your sound to sound braver than you actually felt. Jeff chuckled, stepping closer. "You're different," he said. His voice was so rough. Your body stiffened as he sat on the edge of your bed, so close that you could see the faint scars on his hand and the knife that gleamed into the soft light, resting lazily in his grasp. "Most people scream," he continued, tapping the blade against his knee, "beg for their lives. But you're talking to me." You swallowed hard, your mind racing for a way out. If he ran, he'd catch you. If he fought, you'd lose. Your best chance was to keep him talking. "Why me?" you asked cautiously. Jeff's skin faltered for a second before he shrugged. "I was curious. I watch people sometimes. See who's worth my time. You don't seem like all the others." You weren't sure if that was a good thing or a death sentence. Silence stretched on between you, thick and suffocating. Jeff twirled his knife absent-mindedly, as if contemplating something. Then without warning, he leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Are you scared?" You could hear your heartbeat in your ears. "Should I be?" you asked. He let out a breathy chuckle, eyes gleaming with something almost unreadable. Most people would be. A strange sense of defiance flared within you. Maybe it was the exhaustion, or maybe it was the way he looked at you, with not immediate bloodlust, but with intrigue. "I don't want to die," you admitted, your voice steady. "But I'm not going to beg." For the first time, he looked genuinely surprised. He stared at you unblinking before slowly, an eerie smile stretched across his face. "I like you," he murmured, almost to himself. Then, before you could react, he reached out and ran a gloved finger along your jawline. The touch was cold, sending a sharp shiver down your spine. You didn't dare move. Then, just as quickly as he appeared, he stood up, slipping the knife into his pocket. "You're interesting," he said, turning towards the window. "I'll keep an eye on you, I think." Your stomach twisted at his words. "You're leaving?" you asked cautiously. Jeff turned back, his grin widening. "For now." And with that, he disappeared into the night, leaving you breathless, shaken, and wondering what the hell you had just gotten yourself into. The days after your encounter with Jeff were restless. Sleep became a fleeting luxury, paranoia settling into your bones like an unwanted house guest. Every creak of the house, every shadow cast by the lampside, sent your heart racing. You found yourself double-checking your locks, peering out your windows at odd hours, expecting to see him standing there with that sick grin. But he didn't come back. At first, relief was short-lived. Something about the way he had spoken, his promise to keep an eye on you, made it almost impossible to relax. His quiet absence of his presence was just as unsettling as the encounter itself. But the days turned into a week, and while you tried to convince yourself it was over, a gnawing feeling in your gut refused to let it go. You wanted to believe that he had just lost interest, that you had been nothing more than a passing curiosity, but deep down you knew better. And one night, the silence broke. You were curled up in your bed, forcing yourself to read anything to distract you from the intrusive thoughts. The lamp in your room casting a long, eerie shadow against the walls. Just as your eyelids began to grow heavy, the familiar sound returned. A scratch. Your entire body tense. The noise was faint, deliberate, but it wasn't the wind, nor was it the old wood of the settling house. It was him. Slowly, you sat up, your breath hitching up in your throat and your gaze sluggish towards the window, but there was nothing there. The night outside was a vast expanse of darkness, the moon offering little comfort, but the sound didn't come from outside. It came from the closet. Your pulse pounded in your ears as you stared at the closed door, dread settling into your stomach like a heavy stone. He was inside. For a long moment, you didn't move. Maybe if he stayed still, he would go away. Maybe this was all just in your head. But then again, the handle turned with an antagonizing slowness, and the door creaked open, revealing a figure that had haunted your thoughts for nights on end. Jeff. He had stepped out the darkness like a phantom, his pale face illuminated by the dim lit of your lamp, his wide, carved grin stretched unnervingly. Black hair falling messily over his face, those hollow, soulless eyes met yours and your breath caught in your throat. "Miss me?" he murmured, voice laced with amusement. Your body refused to move. Every rational part of you screamed to run, to do something, but you remained frozen under his gaze. Jeff took another step forward, closing the distance between you with an eerie ease. "I've been watching you," he continued, tilting his head slightly. "You're so different. You're not like any of the others." His words echoed from the last time he had visited. You swallowed hard, forcing yourself to find a voice. "Why are you here?" He chuckled. It was so unsettling and low. He twirled his blade between his fingers as if it was a mere toy, and the glint of the blade sent a wave of fear through you. "Because I want to be," he answered smugly. Your stomach twisted. He wasn't here to kill you. At least, not yet. But that didn't mean you were safe. The way he watched you, it was like a cat playing with its food. It sent a shiver down your spine. Jeff slowly sat on the edge of your bed, much like he had last time. Your butt muscles tensed. Every nerve in your body was on high alert. You intrigued me, he admitted after a moment. Most people are so predictable. They run. They scream. They beg. He leaned closer, his grin widening. But you're not afraid. The way you probably should be. You clenched your hands into fists, nail digging into your palm. I never said I wasn't afraid. His grin twitched as if he found your defiance amusing. But you don't beg. You don't cry. You're just here. Shadows stretched between you, thick and unspoken. You should have been terrified beyond reason, but there was a part of you that was oddly calm. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Maybe it was the fact that you had already faced him once and survived, and you had this little glimmer of hope. Are you going to kill me? You finally asked. Jeff hummed in thought, tilting his head as if considering the question. Not tonight, he murmured. That should have reassured you, but it didn't. The implication was clear. It meant he wasn't done with you yet. You inhaled sharply. Then what do you want? You asked. Jeff's grin faltered before the briefest of seconds before he shrugged. I haven't decided that yet. His honesty was more chilling than any lie. He didn't truly know what he wanted from you, and that uncertainty made him all the more dangerous. Then, without warning, he reached out, brushing his fingers against your cheek, the cold touch barely there. It sent a shiver through your body. You didn't recoil, you didn't flinch, and Jeff seemed to notice. His expression shifted, something unreadable in his eyes. But just as quickly as his touch had come, it had left. He pulled back, standing up from your bed. You're interesting. I think I'll stick around, he murmured, stepping towards the window. Your stomach churned. It's not really my choice, is it? No. He let out a low, unsettling sound. And with that, he slipped down to the window, disappearing into the night, just as swiftly as he had come. You sat there, heart hammering against your ribs, the weight of his words pressing down on you. He wasn't leaving. He was staying. And somehow, some way, you think you knew this was just the beginning of your sick and twisted story with Jeff.